You are lost.
Not my phone died lost. There is no phone, no blue dot, no signs, just a forest or a desert or an ocean gone flat and grey, and nothing that can tell you where here is. Here's the part that should stop you. For almost the entire history of human beings, this was just Tuesday. Nobody had a map, and yet people crossed deserts, found tiny islands in the largest ocean on Earth, and came back. So how and why is the answer so much stranger than they were good at directions? The first thing anyone ever navigated by isn't on the ground. You look up. Before there were maps, there was the sky. The sun rises on one side of the world and sets on the other, east and west for free. And at night, while almost every star wheels across the sky, one, in the north, basically doesn't move. The pole star, the whole sky spins around it like a wheel around its hub. Find that still point and you have true north. You never have to guess again. The land could lie to you. The sky never did. And a few sailors took the sky much further. The ones who took it furthest lived in the last place you'd expect, the Pacific Ocean. The Polynesians settled islands scattered across a third of the planet, tiny specks of land thousands of miles apart, and they found them, on purpose, in canoes. Centuries before Europeans dared sail out of sight of land, they turned the night sky into a map, memorizing where dozens of stars rose out of the sea, so a star climbing at a certain point meant your island lay that way. As one rose too high, they'd swing to the next, a staircase of stars across the dark. No compass, no clock, no chart. Which raises a problem, because the sky has one big flaw: clouds. What do you do when the sky is covered and your one reliable map vanishes behind grey? You look back down. The land was never silent, it was talking the whole time. To someone who has walked a route their whole life, the world is 1,000 tiny signs. The split boulder shaped like a fist, the lone twisted tree, the bend where the river changes its sound. String them together and you have a path as clear as any road, one that exists nowhere but in memory. And the Polynesians read the water the same way. A seabird flies out to fish at dawn and home at dusk. Follow it home and it leads you to land you cannot even see. The land itself was the map, but here's something that will bend your idea of what a map is. In one part of the world, people didn't draw the way, they sang it. In Aboriginal Australia, paths stretch for thousands of miles across the harshest country on Earth, and for tens of thousands of years, people crossed them without a single map. They're called songlines, and the name is almost literal. The route is woven into a song. As you travel, the verses come in order. This rock, then that waterhole, then the ridge shaped like a sleeping animal, telling you where the water is, where the danger is, where to turn. The map isn't on paper. It's a story you carry in your mouth, a map you could only hear. But it only works if you already know the way. So what did people do when no one did? Everything so far, the star paths, the landmarks, the songlines, follows a route someone already knew. But somebody had to go first, to push out past the last familiar landmark into water no story had ever described. No stars memorized for that place, no coast to hug, no landmarks. Just you, the emptiness, and one question. Which way is home now? This needed a completely different trick. Not reading a map the world hands you, but building one, moment by moment, out of your own movement. It's called Dead Reckoning, and a version of it was still guiding ships a couple of human lifetimes ago. Here's the whole idea, and it's beautifully stubborn. If you know where you started, which way you've gone, how fast, and for how long, you can always work out where you are now. That's Dead Reckoning. You are the measuring instrument. On land, people did it counting paces. At sea, sailors clocked their speed by throwing a piece of wood off the bow and timing how long it took to pass. Heading, speed, and hours. Multiply them and you can put a pin on a chart and say, we are roughly here. Roughly. And that word is about to become the most dangerous word in this whole story, because Dead Reckoning has a flaw hiding inside it. Every measurement is a guess, and the errors don't cancel out. They pile up. You're a tiny bit off on your speed, a tiny bit off on your direction. but you feed that error into the next hour and the next, and it grows. A course wrong by a single degree after 1,000 miles dumps you 100 miles from where you think you are. Now imagine you're a sailor. Week 3. Grey sky, no stars, no land. Every position on your chart is a guess built on a guess built on a guess, and you cannot check one against the real world. One wrong guess, quietly compounding, and you sail past the island and vanish. So how did anyone survive that? Here's the secret hiding under this whole story. They survived because they weren't really navigating with stars or paces or songs at all. The real map was inside their heads. Scientists have a name for it, a cognitive map, the model your brain quietly builds and carries around. And you have one right now. You can close your eyes and walk through your home in the dark, knowing your neighborhood not as a grid, but as a living web of turns, and the shop is past the big tree. Now turn that skill up to superhuman. A master wayfinder held the whole voyage in their mind as a single living picture. Where home was, where the island lay, where they were inside it all. The stars weren't the map. They just kept the map in their head honest. We imagine these people white-knuckled and terrified. For a true wayfinder, it was the opposite. They were never truly lost. Picture the most famous image in Polynesian navigation. The wayfinder doesn't imagine the canoe moving across the sea. They imagine it sitting perfectly still, and the islands sliding toward them over the horizon. You are not a dot crawling across a map. You are its center, and the world arranges itself around you. That's the opposite of the little blue dot, which drops you inside a giant grid that exists whether you're there or not. The wayfinder's world had no grid, only here, the way home, and the space in between. Getting lost was almost unthinkable, which brings us to the strangest question of all. If they could do all that with no maps, what happened when the maps arrived? The map, when it came, was miraculous. A single sheet of paper holding a coastline you'd never seen. Then the compass. Then satellites, whispering your position to a screen in your pocket. We flattened the whole planet onto a grid. But be honest, when was the last time you actually knew where you were? Not the app knew. You. We handed the knowing to a machine, and that deep, whole-body map most humans once carried has, for most of us, gone dark. Here's the twist that stays with me. We didn't just get a better map, we got a smaller world. The old way demanded you hold the whole journey inside your head, all at once. The new way asks you to hold nothing, just the next turn, 10 seconds at a time. So the next time your phone dies and that little blue dot blinks out, don't panic. Just for a second, do the oldest thing there is. Look up. Find the sun or the still star in the north. Notice the shape of the land. Feel the map that lived inside every human being for tens of thousands of years. Still in there, dim, waiting. Because you were never as lost as the screen made you feel. If you liked wandering back through a world with no "you are here," subscribe. Every week we take one big, strange, wonderful question and draw it small. I'll see you in the next one. Big questions, drawn small.